Hello students, welcome to the course Physics Principles and Applications for FYBSc Physics Paper 2 Semester 1. So this course is as per the syllabus of Savitribai Phule Pune University CBCS 2019 pattern. I am Dr. Amol Rane, welcomes you to today's lecture. In the previous lectures, we have studied the different types of bonds in the molecule. We have also studied the ionic bond, covalent bond, van der Waals bond, hydrogen bond and metallic bonds. In today's lecture, we will study the rotational energy levels of a diatomic molecule. So, we are studying the third chapter, physics of molecules. So, let us study the rotational energy levels of a diatomic molecule. So, let us consider a diatomic molecule having masses m1 and m2 are joined by a rigid bar. So, the molecule rotates about an axis that passes through the center of mass C and perpendicular to the bond length. So, this molecule rotates about the axis that pass through the center of mass and perpendicular to the bond length. Let R1 be the distance of mass m1 from center of mass C and R2 is the distance of mass m2 from center of mass C. Let R is the bond length of the molecule. Therefore, we can write R is equal to R1 plus R2. Let us call it equation 1. The center of mass is defined by the moment or balancing equation given by m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. That means we can say at the center of mass the moments, two moments are balanced. The moment means the product of mass into the distance from the center of mass. So, this is the product of mass from m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. That means at the center of mass C, the two moments they will balance each other and the balancing equation is given here. Let us call it equation number 2. The moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center of mass C and perpendicular to the line joining the atoms is given by, so the moment of inertia, so since our molecule is rotating about this axis, so we have the moment of inertia about the axis passing through the center C and this which is perpendicular to the line joining the two atoms. And this moment of inertia we know it is given by I is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square, since moment of inertia is the product of mass into square of the radius or square of the distance from the axis of rotation, right. For m1 we have the moment of inertia m1 into r1 square. For m2 we have moment of inertia m2 into r2 square. So, the it is given here for the entire molecule. Let us call it equation number 3. Therefore, we can write this equation as m1 r1 into r1 plus m2 into r2 into r2, right. But from equation 2 we know that m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Therefore, here I can write m2 r2 into r1 plus here I can write m1 r1 into r2, and therefore I can take out r1 into r2 outside and we can write r1 r2 into m1 plus m2 into the bracket, right. Call it equation number 4. From equation 1 and 2 what we have is m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2, right. But the r1 plus r2 is equal to r and therefore we can write which is equal to m2 into r minus r1, right. So we can write r2 is equal to r minus r1, and therefore I can write r1 is equal to m2. So r1 is equal to m2 r upon m1 plus m2, and r2 is equal to m1 r upon m1 plus m2. Let us call it equation number 5. The moment of inertia from equation 4 is given by I is equal to m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 square. So we have put the values of r1 r2 in this equation 4, and therefore we can write I is equal to m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 into r square. So this value is, we call it mu. So I is equal to mu r square. So we call it equation number 6, where this mu is equal to m1 into m2 upon m1 plus m2 is called the reduced mass of the system, right. So it is called as the reduced mass. The classical expression for energy of a body rotating about a given axis with angular velocity omega is given by E is equal to 1 of I omega square, right, where I is the moment of inertia and omega is the angular velocity, right. And therefore the angular momentum of the molecule has the magnitude L is equal to I into omega, where I is the moment of inertia and omega is the angular velocity. Therefore the energy of rotation is given by E is equal to L square upon 2I. We put the value of I omega here, and therefore we can write E is equal to L square upon 2I. Let us call it equation number 8. But we know that the angular momentum of a molecule is quantized and is given by L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h upon 2 pi. Call it equation number 9, where this h we call it Planck's constant. So we know it is Planck's constant. This gives the energy of the rigid rotator as E is equal to j into j plus 1 into h square upon 2 pi square into 2I. So we have put this value into equation number 8, and therefore we can write the energy as E is equal to j into j plus 1 h square upon 4 pi square into 2I. And therefore I can write E is equal to h square upon 8 pi square into I into j plus 1 is in the joules, where this j is equal to 0, 1 or 2 dash 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 is called the rotational quantum number. So it is a rotational quantum number, and it can take discrete values. That means it can take values 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or dash 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 up to infinity, and therefore it is called as a rotational quantum number, and it can take discrete values. So the integer values of the quantum number j allows only certain discrete rotational energy levels of the molecule. That means the molecule cannot have the continuous energy levels, but its energy levels are quantized, just like we have studied in the very first chapter. In the case of atoms, the energy levels are quantized. In the case of hydrogen atom, the energy levels are quantized. So similarly here, in the case of molecule also, we cannot have the continuous energy levels, but our energy levels are quantized, and we have discrete energy levels or rotational energy levels of the molecule. Thus, the rotational energy levels of the diatomic molecule are quantized, and they are given by Ej. So each such level corresponding to each j value, and therefore we write Ej is equal to h square upon 8 pi square I into j plus 1 in joules. The frequency of emitted or absorbed light will be related to the difference between two energy levels, that we know that h nu is equal to E2 minus E1, and nu is the frequency of radiation that will be emitted or absorbed when the interaction between these two energy levels takes place, right. So this frequency of radiation will interact and that is related to the difference between the two energy levels, and therefore nu is equal to E2 minus E1, that we call it delta E upon H, where H is Planck's constant, the frequency is in hertz. So corresponding wave number is nu bar, so we divide this nu by velocity of light c, so we can get the wave number. So wave number is equal to delta E upon Sc, right? So we have just divided by c to this quantity, so we get the wave number in per centimeter units, and in the spectral notations we generally use the wave number format, and therefore we have written here. So in the rotational region spectra are usually discussed in terms of wave number, so it is useful to consider energies expressed in these units. So we write Ej is equal to, so epsilon j is equal to Ej upon Hc, so we divide the Ej by Hc, so we get the H upon 8 pi square I into C, or J into J plus 1. So we get epsilon j is equal to Ej upon Hc. When we divide the energy by Sc, we convert the energy into per centimeter unit, right? So because in the case of here we have delta E upon H, right? So therefore when we want to convert frequency into per centimeter unit, we just need to divide it by C, but in the case of energy we need to divide it by Sc, right? So this energy is in joule, and when we divide by Sc, it will be converted into per centimeter unit, right? And therefore H upon 8 pi square Ic into J plus 1 per centimeter, where this J takes discrete values or discrete integer values 0, 1, 2, dash 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 up to infinity. Call it equation number 14, where this c is the velocity of light, and here is expressed in centimeters per second unit, since the unit of wave number is reciprocal centimeter. So we have this epsilon j is equal to b into j into j plus 1, so per centimeter unit. So j is equal to 0, 1, 2 up to infinity. So where this b is called as rotational constant, and it is given by b is equal to h upon 8 pi square Ic. So here in this equation, this quantity we call it b, right? So in this equation, this quantity we call it b. So b is equal to h upon 8 pi square Ic, and that quantity we have written here. So epsilon j we can write b into j plus 1, right? So for j is equal to 0, if I put j is equal to 0, we have epsilon j is equal to 0, and therefore we would say that the molecule is not rotating at all for this value. And for j is equal to 1, the rotational energy is given by Ej is equal to 2b, right? So this is the rotational energy. If I put j is equal to 1 here, so it will give me 2b, right? So this is the rotational energy for j is equal to 1 is 2b. So we can write these energies we can plot these energy levels. So these energy levels are discrete energy levels corresponding to each j values. So here for j is equal to 0, we can say we have Ej is equal to 0 or epsilon j is equal to 0, and we are saying the molecule is not rotating. And let us draw the corresponding line. So for j is equal to 0, our epsilon j is also 0. Now for j is equal to 1, the rotational energy is epsilon j is equal to 2b, right? When we put j is equal to 1 here, we get 2b, right? And the corresponding energy we can show here as like this. So for j is equal to 1, we have 2b, right? So j is equal to 1, we have epsilon j equal to 2b. And for j is equal to 2, the rotational energy is epsilon j is equal to b into 2 into 2 plus 1. So we put j is equal to 2 here. So we get 6b, and corresponding energy we can plot here, corresponding energy level here, right? For j is equal to 2, we have 6b, and then for j is equal to 3, we have 12b, and for j is equal to 4 we have 20b, and j is equal to 5 we have 30b, and so on. So we can plot the j values for we can plot the energy levels for different j, right. So these are our energy levels. Now let us consider our molecule is in the state of j. Let us state it is in the ground state j, ground state level, and incident radiation be absorbed by the molecule, raise it to j is equal to j1 plus state. So the energy absorbed will be, so we have the two such rotational level, lower one is the j and above one is j plus 1, right. So this level is j and above upper level is j plus 1, right. So we are considering two adjacent levels, and let us consider that some incident radiation that interact with these two energy levels, and that will be absorbed by the molecule, right. And therefore the value of the epsilon j are bj into j plus 1, and for this level the epsilon j is equal to b into j plus 1 into j plus 1. So we put j is equal to j plus 1 here, and because of that we can write here, right. And therefore if you want to know the frequency of the radiation that is interacting with this system, that we can easily calculate by, so epsilon j plus 1 minus epsilon j, that means the difference between two energy level, that will give us the frequency or wave number of the radiation interacting with this energy, two energy levels, right. And therefore we can write this as, so we can subtract this minus this, and therefore we get this wave number corresponding to transition from j to j plus 1 or j plus 1 to j transition, and we get this b is equal to j square plus 3 plus 2 minus j square plus j, and therefore if you solve this equation we get the wave number corresponding to this transition as 2b into j plus 1. So we are considering this per centimeter unit, so wave number units we write in this format, right. So that means the wave number corresponding to the radiation that is interacting with this two energy levels, two adjacent energy levels, so that is equal to twice b into j plus 1, right. Now since j is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 dash dash dash, thus the rotational energy levels in an absorption or emission spectrum consisting of lines 2b, 4b, 6b, etc. Let us see what the statement states, right. That means if I consider transition between 0 and 1 level, in that case what I am getting is 2b, so j value is 0, right. So in that case I am getting 2b value. In the case of second and third level, I have to put j is equal to 2 here, right. So I put j equal to 2, so 2 plus 1 is 3, so 3 into 2 is 6, right. So I am getting 6 here, right. Or here if I put j is equal to 1, so I will get this 4b, right. And when I put j is equal to 0, I will get 2b, right. So 2b, 4b, 6b, like that. So let us see here. So the transition between different rotational energy levels is restricted by selection rules, right. So selection rule states that delta j should be only changed by plus or minus 1 only, right. So that means only those transitions are allowed for which the quantum number j changes by 1, right. All the other transitions are forbidden. That means the transition between only 0 to 1 is allowed, 1 to 2 is allowed, 2 to 3 is allowed, and not from 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 or 1 to 3. So only the transition between adjacent j values are allowed, that means adjacent levels are allowed, and where the delta j changes by 1 only, right. So plus or minus 1 depending on the absorption or emission, right. So let us, we have these energy levels that we have already studied, and now let us study the spectrum here, right. So we have the spectrum. Usually the spectrum is expressed in terms of wave number unit or per centimeter units. So what we have, the transition from j plus 1 to j. So let us say the transition from any j plus 1 level, adjacent two adjacent levels, that transition is, we know that it is 2b into j plus 1, right. Now let us consider the transition between this lower level 1 and 0, right. So from 1 to 0, when the molecule jumps from this j is equal to 1 level to j is equal to 0 level, in that case what we get is that value of wave number is equal to 2b minus 0. So it is equal to 2b, right. And therefore what we get is the first transition, that is from 1 to 2. So this difference is 2b, right. So this difference is 2b, and therefore on the wave number scale, right, we get 2b, one spectral line at 2b wave number value, right. So b is some constant, that constant multiplied by 2, that will give us wave number, and on that wave number scale we get this line. For the second transition from 2 to 1, we get, so we put the value of 2 and 2, j is equal to 2, j is equal to 1 here. So if I put j is equal to 1 here, we get 2b into j plus 1. So that means 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 into 2 is 4. So we get it 4b. Or simply one can easily calculate. So let's say 6b minus 2b. So it will be 4b, right. So this difference is 4b, right. So this difference is 4b, and the transition from this level j is equal to 2 to j is equal to 1, that will be correspond to a transition or the spectral line. That spectral line will come at distance 4b on the spectrum. So this is the spectrum, that what we have already studied what is meant by a spectrum in the first chapter, right. For j is equal to 3 to 2 transition, we get 6b. That means the difference between this 12b minus 6b is 6b, and therefore we get the transition at 6b wave number. Then for 4 to 3, we get transition at 8b, right. So this difference is 8b, and we get 8b. Then we have transition at between 5 and 4 is at 10b. Then between 6 and 5 we get at 12b, and between 7 and 6 we get at 14b. That means what we have, the spectral line, when we observe the spectrum of this diatomic molecule, rotational spectrum, we get equally spaced lines between the wave numbers, right. So these are equally spaced lines, right. So it is seen that the spectral lines are placed at 2b, 4b, 6b, etc., and are equidistantly placed on the spectrum, with difference between two lines is 2b per centimeter. So difference between these two lines is 2b. So let us study what is this. So these are the spectral lines corresponding to with different j transition, right. So we have the first transition at 2b. So the first and second transition, they are equidistantly spaced, and their difference is 2b. Here also it is 2b, here also it is 2b, right. So all these lines on the spectrum will get equidistantly placed lines in the spectrum for a particular molecule, and therefore we can say the rotational spectrum of a rigid diatomic molecule consists of a set of equidistantly spaced lines which are 2b per centimeter apart, right. So which are 2b per centimeter apart, their distance is 2b, and therefore if we calculate, if we study the spectrum of any such unknown molecule, we can easily calculate the distance between two spectral lines, and we can easily calculate the b value from b. So b is the rotational quantum number, rotational constant. So b is the rotational constant, and from b we can easily determine the moment of inertia I, and from moment of inertia we can easily determine the we can easily know the atomic masses and the interatomic distance or bond length r, and therefore we can easily know the chemical composition of the molecule. Therefore this rotational spectrum is very useful in the study of diatomic molecules. So let us study the properties. The rotational spectrum is observed only for the heteronuclear molecules, like molecules of HCl, HBr, or carbon monoxide. So these are all heteronuclear molecules, And if it is a homonuclear molecule, that means H2 or O2, there will be no change in the dipole moment or dipole component during the rotation, and hence no interaction with the radiation. That means in the case of heteronuclear molecule, there will be change in the dipole moments, right? So we know that one atom is electronegative, more electronegative than the other. Chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. Here bromine is more electronegative than hydrogen, and because of that a dipole is formed between these two molecules, because the electron shared electron pair will be attracted towards the chlorine atom in this HCl, and slightly positive partially negative charge is developed on chlorine and partially positive charge is developed on hydrogen, and therefore this forms a dipole, right? So dipole, we know dipole means in electrostatics is the when two positive and negative charge they forms a dipole, right? So here positive and negative charge is developed on this molecule and they are separated by a distance that will form a dipole, and due to this dipole formation, when the molecule rotates, during the rotation there will be change in the dipole moment, right? So the dipole moment of the molecule will change during the rotation, and that will give rise to the rotational spectrum of the molecule, and therefore only heteronuclear molecules they show the dipole moments. We can say change in dipole moments, and therefore they show the rotational spectrum. In the case of homonuclear molecules, there is no change in the dipole moments during the rotation, and therefore they will not show the rotational spectrum, and therefore they cannot be detected by the spectral techniques, right? The study of rotational spectrum is useful, very useful to understand the chemical composition in a molecule, right? So this study is very useful. So in today's lecture, we have studied the rotational energy levels of a diatomic molecule. We have also studied the rotational spectrum of the diatomic molecule, and we have studied that the rotational spectrum, in the rotational spectrum, all the energy levels are equidistantly, all the spectral lines are equidistantly placed in the spectrum. In the next lecture, we are going to study the vibrational energy levels of diatomic molecule. Thank you.